Ministers are facing renewed pressure to tackle the problem of migrants crossing the Channel in small boats after the deaths of 6 people off the coast of the French port of Calais. The government has promised to target the criminal gangs who organise the crossing. Our correspondent Bethany Bell is in Calais and says investigations into how the boat sunk are underway.
What we've been told by the French authorities is that they have been talking to the people who are well enough to speak to them to try and establish exactly what happened on that overcrowded boat when it capsized. And what aid workers have been telling us here is that the number of migrants coming to the region around Calais has gone up quite a lot in recent weeks.
The Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, has written to the devolved governments across the UK, inviting them for talks aimed at finding ways to tackle NHS waiting lists. Mr Barclay accuses the Welsh and Scottish governments of having worse waiting times for some patients. They say the figures aren't comparable as different statistics are used. The authorities in Hawaii are continuing to search for victims of the catastrophic wildfires on the island of Maui. So far, 80 people have confirmed to have died. The town of Lahaina was almost completely destroyed. Richard Alston, a local helicopter pilot, described the devastation.
The first area that I saw, the houses were literally burnt right to the ground. Now we got up to the main town and the harbor, the boats in the harbor. There were a few left floating, but most of them were burned and had sunk. The historic section, Lahaina Town, which used to be the capital of Hawaii, was burned to the ground.
Dozens of boats will gather on the canals in central Birmingham today to protest against government plans to cut funding for the Canal and River Trust. The body, which looks after the waterways of England and Wales, has warned some canals could have to close as a result of the reduction. Ministers say it was always the intention for the CRT to become financially independent. Theo White reports.
Government funding makes up around a quarter of the Canal and River Trust's income, but this will reduce significantly in future, following a decision announced by the Environment Department last month. From 2027, the government grant will be reduced by 5% a year, starting at £55 million and dropping to around £31 million by 2037. The Trust's chief executive, Richard Parry, says that unless a more realistic settlement is reached, it will turn the clock back on one of the nation's greatest heritage regeneration stories.
And the heavyweight boxer Anthony Joshua has beaten Finland's Robert Helenius in a fight in London. He knocked out his opponent in the 7th round. The former world champion will hope that the win will revitalise his career.